This is Go All In with Sarah Leslie, helping entrepreneurs live the life they want to live right now, making the money you want to make, making it the way you want to make it, while also living a full, rich life outside of their business. I call it true personal freedom. Let's go. I'm so glad to be here today, and I'm so glad that you are too. Our topic today is achieving your money goals with ease. Now, before we even get started, why are you listening to this podcast? I am so curious to know. Of course, I would love for you to share it with me here in the comments and set an intention. Just ask yourself, why am I listening to this specific topic? What is it about this topic that I want, that I am looking for? Where do I feel unsure and need a little something more? Assume you're going to get the answer that you need for today by the end of this podcast. You are meant for an extraordinary life. And living an extraordinary life requires money. But most people have so many issues around money and achieving their financial goals. There's so much stress and anxiety and fear and this not good enough, essentially, right? Fear and shame around money. You see it everywhere. People talking about how they don't have enough of it or how they're worried that they're not going to have enough of it in the future. We make it really hard on ourselves to be able to make money, to receive money, and to be able to enjoy the money we have. Why is this? Right? Like, why so many issues around money? Right. And you don't have to look very far, probably not even go past yourself to recognize how rampant issues with money are. Here's my short answer. And again, I will be getting into this in so many of the episodes and some episodes specifically around why we make it so hard for ourselves to receive the things that we desire. The simple answer is you were conditioned in childhood to think and behave in a certain way. And you have been maintaining that way throughout your life at some degree. And essentially, you didn't learn what I'm about to share with you. And so you've learned the other way that you've been doing, or some version of that, for years. I'm 46, so like years. And you just haven't learned these steps, right? The thing and the way that you've been doing it seems like a fact. It seems like something that is just simply the way it is. And there is another way. So I too started out being that person working long hours, grinding it out, working so hard, all in an effort to achieve my financial goals, right? To fulfill the savings obligation, to put money away for the future, to have the emergency fund, to have have money in my IRA and my this and my that and all of the places. Okay. And it always was from this place of anxiety and fear. It was never from like, ooh, this is so much fun to make money. Let's make a lot of it. No, not until the last several years has that been my mindset, mentality, or approach to making money. And probably not yours either. And even once I got to the point where I was making six figures at my 9 to 5 job, it still didn't alleviate my anxiety. Now, I could enjoy spending it a little bit more for sure. And I was still regularly experiencing this underlying tension, anxiety, fear that there wasn't going to be enough, or that something bad was going to happen, or I was going to lose it, or any number of things that my mind would run away with. Okay. Even after taking the leap into entrepreneurship several years ago now, my circumstances did improve and I still didn't have the financial freedom that I was looking for. and I wasn't living in the ease, as I like to call it, of life, which is ultimately what I have been craving forever. And definitely why I went into entrepreneurship, right? Like, I'm sure the same for you. All right. So the good news is there is another way. I call it a new way, right? It's different from the old way that you've been doing it. And there actually is a proven formula for how to make money with ease. So exciting. Just let it sink in, right? And instead of your mind going to, oh, this sounds hokey, or no, there isn't, or I can't believe that I've been looking so hard for it and I haven't been able to find it. I ask you, or I offer to you, right? Just remain open. It's totally cool. I didn't know either. And it took me quite some time. It doesn't have to take you that long to come around to believing, like, yeah, actually, it doesn't have to be so hard and it can happen pretty easily. Again, we have so much stuff going on inside of our head that we think is fact to work through. So, getting started, right, with the nitty gritty details here, roughly how much money are you making right now per month? That's where I want you to start. Where are you at right now? Take a clear inventory of what's going on in your life right now. Then I want to ask you, what would be really inspiring for you to be making this month instead? And if you love the amount of money you're making, perhaps then what you're really looking for is the way in which you're making money, right? How would you be making money where it would feel really inspiring? Most people want more time freedom. Okay. So take a look at those two numbers. I would encourage you, as you're listening to this podcast, to write them down to get the most out of your experience being here. So then, what is it that gets in the way of you making your financial goals? I'm going to cut right to the chase here and just let you know you're always at the center for why you don't have the results that you want. We are the most important person in our world, and our world revolves around us. And we are always the cause of what we are experiencing. Notice I didn't say it's your fault. That is completely not the case. It's a completely new way of looking at things for most people. And it's simply recognizing that you have more power and control over your own life than you ever probably imagined. And maybe you imagined it because I like totally did in the back of my mind. And yet I didn't really know how to do it. So this is like all the stuff that I do in my one-on-one coaching with folks, very like detailed and specific. And I help them actually do the transformations. So the thing that's keeping you is always something going on inside of yourself. Always, always, always. Now, what isn't your problem in making your financial goals? It isn't that you need to be doing better marketing, more content posting on this platform and that platform, more systems in your back end of your business, more funnels, or necessarily even that you need to meet more people. Now, of course, all of these things have their place and their role in the, experience of being a business owner. And they're not actually the reason you're not accomplishing your money goals. They're not the solution for you to be able to create your money goals with ease. I'm going to give you the 3 key beliefs you must hold in order to achieve your money goals with ease, and the action steps you need to take for each. I'm going to go through each belief and then each action step along with it. So, getting us started, the first belief is I am prosperity. Okay. Just let that sink in. Such a big concept and has to pass through levels of your filters to be able to really sink in. So I would invite you just to write it down and meditate on it. So, first of all, what does it not look like, right? When we don't believe I am prosperity, this is some of what goes on. You're out there looking for the money, you're chasing after the money. You're seeking other people to tell you how to create the money or to create the money for you. It's this ultimately, it's the belief that money, prosperity, abundance, goodness comes from outside of you into you. And this is how you know you're doing it the hard way. If you're doing or feeling these things in your efforts, you're most likely not believing this belief and you're also doing it a harder way than is available for you. And you're also inadvertently pushing away the abundance and prosperity that you exactly desire. What does it look like? You understanding that prosperity comes from within you, right? So if we go back to the original statement of everything that happens in your world is a part of your experience, like it is happening because of how you're seeing things, how you show up in the world. You're the cause. And so when you're not in the belief of prosperity, you simply won't be creating prosperity. And when you're in the belief of prosperity, you recognize that it is coming from within you, that which you create. Your mind, your creativity, your abilities, your ideas, your impulses, your inclinations come from inside of you, right? The inspiration comes from inside of you, which means you're now seeing opportunities wherever you go. You're now seeing what is meant for you. You're feeling, knowing, experiencing ideas and creativity that lead you to taking your next action step towards creating what it is you desire to be doing in your business versus going to another person and saying, "Hey, can you tell me what to do?" Again, that is our employee mindset, right? It's the mindset that so many of us were raised in, which is listen to what they have to say and then go do it really well. Instead of what is it that I desire? What is it that I feel called to, that I feel led by, that I feel excited about? And then doing that with help, of course. Like, by no means am I saying not to hire someone. There's just a distinct and significant difference from hiring someone who's going to help you draw out of you what you're meant to be doing versus going to someone else and listening to how they did their thing and then copying it. Okay. Does that make sense? Drop it in the comments if it doesn't make sense and I will respond. So in other words, right, when we're in the belief of I am prosperity, it is life surging through us and coming out. You in that state are welcoming in the money you desire, welcoming in being rich, welcoming in feeling in abundance, right? You're experiencing abundance from within you going out. This is why you could have literally like two businesses in the same area and one be doing amazing and the other one really struggling. It comes back to the two approaches with which they're living their life. One of them believes, whether they consciously know this or not, one of them believes I am prosperity and the other one believes they're in lack. Summed up. So the clear action step here, right, is having a goal, specific financial goal that you desire, that lights you up, that gets you excited, that supports your extraordinary life, not a small one. Also, this goal will not be practical or realistic. Those things do not light you up. So you want it to cover all of your expenses, all of your operations, your lifestyle, and probably then some. Most of us underdream. So dreaming bigger. Okay. I'm not looking for a fantasy. This isn't like, magic land. This is be inspired because that is what's within you. Belief number 2, I am designed for an extraordinary life. Okay. Could also say it as I am living an extraordinary life, but sometimes people can't quite get there. So if you're not even in the place where your mind, like if your mind says, I am living an extraordinary life, and you go, that's ridiculous, it's totally fine. I started out not being able to say that belief. Okay. However, I did for sure always believe I am designed for an extraordinary life. I could always see that I had this beautiful vision. Even if it was foggy and I didn't have details, I could see the life that I wanted out there in front of me, way out of my reach, but out there in front of me. So I am designed for an extraordinary life. Again, go big. Your vision needs to be compelling. You need to feel motivated to go towards it because chances are right now, the thing that's motivating you is scarcity, lack, and fear. So that's never going to feel easeful. That's always going to feel hard. So, in order for you to achieve your financial goals with ease, your vision needs to be compelling and you need to be rooted in that vision, in your desires. Okay. So, the step here, the concrete step, right, is creating your vision, getting clear with that extraordinary life, that vision, those things that you desire. Now, if you're not quite there yet, then I want you to start by working on this is what I want. Boom, write it all down. I want fill in the blank for my life, for my business, and then just make a list. If you're a little bit further down the road and when you hear me say, I want you to sit down and spend some time writing out your vision, feel free to even pause right now and just sit down and let it come up and out of you and write it down. Okay. And you want to be writing it in the first person where it feels inside of you like it is true right now. Okay. That part is super, super important when you're doing this step. I just did episode number 2 is all about the blueprint of literally how to create your life and your vision for your business and your life. I called it your blueprint made simple. So go check it out for sure. And I'm just going to give you a couple more quick details about this. You want to spend the time. It doesn't need to be long at all. Literally, it's literally in you waiting to come out. So it could take as simple as 10 minutes, literally. If it takes longer, do the work. This is called the inner work. This is like the practical, hands on inner work of you being able to get what you desire. Okay. Now, your mind might tell you, like, oh, that sounds so simple. Again, go check out podcast number 2 because I went into great detail about how to overcome even the obstacles for actually sitting down and writing out your vision. Life is not actually about working, it's actually about creating, which is, again, why that vision is so important. The reason why a lot of us have gotten trained to think life is about working is because very early on we started going to school that was a format of work. Okay, you go to work, you go to school, you sit down and the teacher comes in and tells you what to do. Again, it's not bad. It's just like our experience and we just got to like be neutral about it and move on so that we're not holding on to anger and resentment about all that shit. So I just want you to recognize life is not actually about working. Okay. How often do you find yourself saying, I have to work, or I have to do this work, or I have to take care of this thing? That is all in that space and that approach to life as if it's work. Life is not meant for work. That's not like the goal of life. We do work in life, but that isn't the goal. And most of us spend a lot of time working in all the areas of our life versus creating what we desire. Completely different approaches. So when you're in the identity, when your identity is going after what you desire, then you just simply create things. And until you're really rooted there, again, this is what I teach people, and this is how I literally spend the time in my one on one program with people, where I literally help them become creators in their life so that they can actually be prioritizing their growth and the growth and expansion of both their life and their business. All right. So the key here, right, with this step is opening up to expand and go to places where your imagination has not yet gone. Tap into places that maybe you just literally haven't been to. And if you've been there, but you've left there and you recognize you're like off the path, you just need to tap back in. Okay. Sometimes it's harder than it sounds. And that's okay. It's all totally good. And it's all here for your learning and your growth. And also get help with that. Number 3, belief number 3, I allow abundance to come to me with ease. So important. Belief number 3, when we're not allowing it to come to us with ease, usually we know, right? So recognize and take a moment and ask, what would it feel like if I actually allowed abundance to come to me with ease? If I actually experienced abundance from within me, what would that feel like? Okay. And some of you will be able to get there and some of you won't. It's totally fine. Just practice what it would feel like. So the action step here, right, is be the most authentic version of you. What I like to say is be you as loud as you can. Okay. And this is what I mean. Again, for years, we have been training, conditioned to not be ourselves. It really is just that simple. For years, you've been training, conditioning to not be you. Pick up things along the way and we adapt. We hear criticism or feedback and we adapt. We are operating in fear and shame and anxiety. And therefore, we adapt because what? We all want to feel comfortable. That is like literally the goal of our human mechanism, the mind, is to feel comfortable, to keep us safe, right? Specifically the subconscious mind. And I'll go into that in more detail in a different episode. But think about it like there are multiple parts of the mind: primary, subconscious, and conscious. So be you as loud as you can, which means you got to strip away and release the stuff that's not really you. So this involves, right, going through and doing an inventory about who you are now, how you show up in the world, and super simple examples, right? What rules do you have about spending, investing money? What rules do you have around where your money goes? What rules do you have around what money is available to you to utilize if you needed it right now? How well do you manage money? How do you think about money? What are the thoughts that you have about money? How do you experience when you get a bill in your email or the mail? You still get bills in the mail. I don't get bills in the mail, but however you get bills, how do you feel when you get one, when you open one? What does it feel like when you go to the vet and the vet says, oh, we've got this thing and it's going to be $500? So again, right? That stuff is not really you. The like anxiety, the fear, the worry, the stress, that isn't the real you. The you that is what I call the real you, right? The true self, the higher self, whatever words fit for you best. Think about it like the raw you. Okay. So if you stripped away all of the fears, all of the anxieties, all of the shames, and I'm not good enough feelings, or the need for approval, or the need to, please other people, and you were like really just you. Sometimes I like to think about it like if I was on an island all by myself, how would I be making this decision? So if that helps you, please use it. Okay. So be able to get to that version of you and also do an inventory. When am I actually like that person on the island who just is doing what they feel called and led and inspired to do? And look at the ways in which you are not operating as that person. And where are the areas? Write them down, like spend some time with this, right? I mean, again, this is like the heart of the work that I do with people over a period of months. Because this work, while it can sound so simple and easy, it's not. It's just not, or you'd already have done it and you would know the answers, like you wouldn't be here at this class. Sorry. I also host master classes regularly. I just did the master class on this. You wouldn't be here listening to this podcast. Okay. So it's be you as loud as you can, work out and release the stuff that is not truly you. Get down to that raw version of you, right? The divine, beautiful, extraordinary human that you were created as. And then part 2 of action step here for belief number 3 is follow the impulse, follow the breadcrumbs, follow the inclinations, the spark, whatever phrasing works well for you. Follow. Okay. So you will be experiencing probably a tension between, well, I should do that, or, oh, they're doing that, so I probably should do that too. Or, ooh, I feel like really inspired to like, I don't know. I really want to host like a book study of sorts, we'll say, right? Community/book club thing right now. And so inside of me comes that. Now, yes, I've seen people like host like different, meetups and weekly meetings and different types of groups, right? Networking groups and all these different types of groups. And my heart from within me, I have this like inclination, this impulse, this excitement about running a specific type of group, facilitating a specific type of community that would include this particular study I want to do on faith. Okay. That is an impulse. I didn't like see someone else hosting a study on faith. No, that is something that's coming from within me. Okay. You have things that are coming from within you that desire to be brought to life. And those are the things that you're really meant to be doing if you want to create money with ease. Okay. And, I remember working with an attorney a couple of years back now, and I don't know a whole heck of a lot about being a lawyer, but I do know a heck of a lot about this work. I'm obsessed with all things related to doing the inner work and implementing it in your life so you can live exactly as you want to, like my intro says. And so as I'm in conversations with her about like, hey, how do you want to do this differently? You're telling me you don't have the financial freedom you want, you don't have the time freedom you want. How do you want to do your job? And she broke it down for me and like already had like a plan of how she wanted to actually spend her time in her business. And yet she wasn't doing it. Why don't we do the things we feel compelled to do? Because we're scared. Okay. Like break it down into the most simple way. We're scared. We don't know if it's going to work. We don't know if it's going to make money. We don't know what will happen. And so we don't do it. This is why you hire someone like me, because we all need that kind of level of intervention and handholding to a degree to be able just to get us through that transition of fear and being scared. So once I walked her through that, which like legit only took a couple of steps, maybe 2 or 3 phone call sessions that I do with people over Zoom, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing! I can like just literally do this. This is amazing." Now, fast forward a month or just in the coming weeks after that, right? She'd run into an issue with like a judge who would be like, you've got to like be here at this time. And she'd be like, oh no, that's not how I want to do my business. Like those hours are for this thing specific. So like, of course we had to tweak it and we had to go back and revisit some of that old way of doing things and that old employee work mindset to get rid of that and clean it up and tweak it and tweak it and tweak it to before she would be able to really be running smoothly with that. Okay. And this is what is meant by living your life with ease, by experiencing your day to day with ease versus going with the grind. You're grinding it out when you're not enjoying what you're doing. You're grinding it out if you're watching what other people are doing and then trying to implement that in your business. You have a unique business plan, strategy inside of you. This is the plan. This is the path that you're meant to follow to make the money. And it will come more easeful, right? It comes easily. And it's also sustainable over time versus the hard way that generally leads to burnout at some point. Okay. You don't want to like even wait until retirement and then you're like, man, I'm exhausted and I need to rest for a few years. That's not what we're meant for at all. That means you're grinding it out. That means work is no longer a delight for you. And that is what we're meant to be doing. So that delight comes from within you doing the things that you desire. When you bravely follow this path, you've got to like remove that fear and shame and all of the things that are keeping you from doing it, right? You know you are worthy and able to accomplish the path through your heart, right? It's all there inside of you, what you desire to be doing. I promise it will yield fruit and you will see yourself evolving and creating your vision. That's it for me. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. All of the links will be in the show notes for today. Between now and when I see you next, go be extraordinary. Join us for episode 4, where we will be talking all about desire and what actually that means to go after what you desire. Ready to hire your own personal one-to-one mentor to take your life to the next level? Go to my website and sign up for a no charge, no pressure consultation where you and I can get to know each other and I get to hear about your vision. And if it feels like a good fit, we'll talk about what it looks like to work with me.